Hi everyone, Alexandra Jarrett, Jupiter Returns here with your weekly astrology forecast for the week of the 3rd to the 9th of May. Not going to be as much of an intense week as last week, and last week obviously was very powerful Pluto energy, deeply transformative week. We start this week, Monday the 3rd. We've got the moon in Aquarius, and she's kind of building into her last quarter square aspect. So the last quarter square aspect is essentially the 90-degree angle to the sun. And to the place of, so it's the midpoint essentially between the full moon that we had in Scorpio and the coming new moon that we have in Taurus. And it's a place of tension. It creates a square aspect. This is going to be particularly tense on this one. That's because we've got the moon conjunct Saturn. Moon Saturn is quite hard anyway on its own, because Saturn is quite cold. It's quite a cold energy, and it's a very kind of leave me alone energy. Whereas the moon wants more softness and more comfort, so she doesn't feel that from Saturn in the slightest, really. What obviously is going to be most potent, though, is the fact that the moon here, as she's moving into square aspect with the sun, it's really going to keep the Saturn-Uranus square quite prominent. We're coming into the second peak of the Saturn-Uranus square in June. So it's a little way off, but we're really building into it. And I think this is where we're going to get, another really powerful kind of reminder of its background, pervasive presence throughout all of this year. And of course, this is the battle between freedom and restriction. Okay, or what we experience as restriction and what we perceive to be freedom. So this is going to take place, it will be building all day, all throughout the day on Monday, and then it's going to peak at 8 p.m. All right. And of course, it's taking place Aquarius and Taurus. So this is the fixed signs, those signs that just don't want to shift. They don't want to make a change. And yet that square aspect is saying, well, you've got to do something. So it's like, it's frustrating and it's irritating, and it's just really it's not pleasant energy at all, especially with moon Saturn there. So we've got the moon and the Saturn at 13 degrees of Aquarius, and then we have the sun at 13 degrees of Taurus, just pulling away from the conjunction with Uranus. Uranus back there at 10 degrees, but still very much, within orb enough to be absolutely at play here. And particularly as Uranus is the ruler of Aquarius. So there'll be some, additional kind of receptivity from the moon, who's in Aquarius. She's going to pick up that Uranus vibe that little bit more. So expect it to be, a little bit uncomfortable again. At the same time, we've got Mercury at the very last degree of Taurus, moving over this kind of meeting point, the point where Taurus moves into Gemini, as we kind of we're starting to work with as we left last week, in the last days of last week. And today, Mercury arrives at the very final degree, the 29th degree. So that again can give us a feeling of kind of, oh my God, have I done everything? Almost like an impatience, really, to be done with that and move on, especially as Mercury can almost sense, like, I'm coming into my home sign. I'm really happy in Gemini. So let's get this stuff done. But it can also feel this kind of sense of, but I need to make sure that what I was doing here is properly completed before I move on. And Mercury moving through Taurus was really trying to change our way of thinking and communicating with ourself and on behalf of ourself, and sort of learning to walk our talk a little bit more, to embody the messages that well, I would hope are the good messages that we give ourselves about ourselves, and to really kind of start to demonstrate those in reality. So it's almost like a point of saying, okay, do you get it now? Do you understand? You know, this last quarter square is saying, you know, it's reintroducing us essentially to some of the energies at play within that full moon, and saying, right, okay, you've had 7 days now to pull out of this what you needed, to, you know, look at it from all different angles and talk to other people about it and just sit with it and work it out. And now is the time where the change now has to happen. You can't think about it anymore. You can't analyze it anymore, Mercury. It's actually time to do now, okay? So this is that crisis point. It's that 90-degree angle. It's just going to give you a shove. It's just going to irritate you just enough to make you go, oh yeah, that stuff. Yeah, I've got to do that, haven't I? We're moving then into, you know, the waning last quarter square of that cycle. And that's where we can really let go of things. That's the time when we can really just empty things out to clear the room for something better to come into. But we can only do that if we really want to, and if we're really ready to. And this will be the day where any sort of resistance to that change is really, really going to show up with these planets that are in play. So what are the changes that you have established that you would like to make as a result of what you received from the full moon? Because this is the day when we have to almost like recommit. Especially Saturn loves commitment. We have to recommit to that course, even if it's really, really difficult, and it's most likely to feel that bit more difficult at this square aspect. It's going to be like, you know, let's see how much you really want to make that change. It's going to make things very challenging in order to bring that change about. So watch out for that, and don't just kind of give in. You know, don't just go, oh, do you know what, I just can't do it. You know, whatever I do, because Moon Saturn can be a bit like defeated, can feel a little bit like, oh, what's the point? You know, can feel a little bit like just giving up. But don't. It's testing you. It's testing you for your weak spaces, for your weak spots. And that's just so that you can strengthen them. All right. So don't give in. Commit. You've committed to this process of change, and you can do this. Okay. Yeah, it's testing our ability to make lasting change and progress, and it's the push to deal with that urge to break free from the old. Okay, so it's just going to give you another little nudge if you still need one. So then as we go into Tuesday, this is sort of overnight, in the very early hours of Tuesday the 4th, we have Mercury ingressing into Gemini. Home sign, beautiful. I mean, this is great. This is great news if you've got anything that really needs a lot of mental attention. You know, if you've got a lot of work to do, if you've got a lot of studying to do, if you've got a lot of reading to do, or organizing, you know, just getting things sorted out. It's a really great energy for that. It is in Gemini, Mercury here is in his home sign. So it gives really wonderful expressions, like really, really comfortable, the kind of stuff that we really want from Mercury. And it's nowhere near retrograde. Mercury will be going through the sign of Gemini until like mid-July. Is it mid? I've probably written it down here somewhere. Bear with me. Yeah, until yeah, 12th of July, sorry. So that's a long time, right? From the 4th of May right through till the 12th of July. So that's a long time for Mercury to be in Gemini. That's because it's going to go retrograde, and it's going to go retrograde during the eclipses. So obviously I'll talk about that closer to the time. They're getting closer and closer all the time, obviously, as we move into Gemini season. But for this first kind of 10 days of Mercury being in Gemini, Mercury is moving forward, not in shadow even. Pre or post retrograde, we've got 10 days of just kick ass clarity of mind, of thinking, and of organization. So really, really use that to your benefit. See where Gemini is in your chart, and that's the area of your life that you can really tidy up. Okay, Mercury loves to just tidy up and get things streamlined and efficient. You know, Mercury loves efficiency. So use that for those 10 days before we go into shadow. Okay. And yeah, get prepared for the eclipses. Where is change going to be happening in your life? As we move through into Wednesday the 5th at 7:30 a.m., we have our attention goes back to the sun. And the sun on Wednesday early on, this is the exact midpoint of Taurus, okay? And that is what we, in the pagan system, that's referred to as the fire festival of Beltane, okay? Kind of morphed into May Day celebrations. So you might have heard a lot of this going on at the weekend, but astrologically speaking, the exact moment is when the sun meets the exact midpoint of the sign of Taurus. So this is where we are equally between the vernal equinox and the summer solstice. So it's that midpoint of moving from one season to the other. It's a very, very powerful point as well. So essentially, this is also saying, okay, it's time to get prepared. It's time to just start to have a think about the fact that we will soon be moving away from the newness of spring, the excitement that happens at the vernal equinox here. All right, moving away from that, there's going to be more of that behind us than in front of us. And we need to start to prepare now for where we move at the summer solstice, which happens here as we move into Cancer season. So it's saying, okay, spring is starting to move behind, summer's coming forward, and summer is more about productivity. Okay, summer is where the sun really is. Okay, if you think about the amount of food that the sun produces, every plant on this planet brings in the sun as food, as energy for growth. So the more sun, the more daylight there is. And of course, this is more relevant to the Northern Hemisphere where I am here in the UK. The more sun there is in the sky, the more growth there is, the more of a harvest there can be, the more productivity there is out there in the world. So when the sun hits this point of Beltane, it's really like saying, okay, you know, we've got to start to really get into doing some work here. Like this is the real productive phase of the year. So, you know, I hope all your preparations are ready now. You know, have you done your spring clean? You know, have you resorted out your daily schedule? Have you cleaned everything, organized the cupboards, got your paperwork in order, all of that stuff. And of course, Mercury here is going to help you if you've just got like a week or so of that stuff just to really get done. It's just kind of getting yourself prepared, ready to then really meet that most productive part of the cycle, and get the best out of it. Okay, so we have the moon. She's waning in Pisces now, and she's helping us to sort of also to leave behind some of the old. She's waning, obviously, which is about release, and this is moving through the last sign of the zodiac. This Pisces speaks to endings, so this is really going to facilitate that. Okay, yeah, we really are done with the previous year now, and we've really got to move towards the new. As we move then into Thursday the 6th, on Thursday the 6th, we have an absolutely gorgeous connection. It's probably the best part of the whole week for me. I'm absolutely loving this energy. And this is where you're going to be so pleased that you engaged with the Pluto, that Scorpio full moon that we had last week, and really were prepared to get into the blood and guts of it all, because here we have a trine. Venus has moved forwards in Earth sign Taurus. She's moved into this trine with this newly retrograde Pluto there in Capricorn. So, I mean, this is wonderful. That raw, bloody, hugely powerful energy that is Pluto here can be smoothed by Venus. It can be made way more graceful by Venus. She's going to soften this, and she's going to really show us the benefits of doing this work. This is kind of like that incredible, unbreakable, beautiful bond when mother and child embrace for the first time and look into each other's eyes. And it's just the most incredibly powerfully moving experience, the deepest possible love. I'm told, I haven't had a child myself, and that's the bit that says, oh my God, yeah, it was so worth all that pain and gore to go through. And this is really speaking to having that connection with yourself. All right. Taurus is all about the self-love, and it's saying, having that deep connection, that bond of just the appreciation of what you've gone through with yourself and how you've approached it. Now you're going to see the sweetness. Now you're going to see the success. Now you're going to start to kind of see how things are going to come back together again after everything's been broken apart. Pluto's gone retrograde, so Pluto is sort of retracing its steps between 24 to 26 degrees of Capricorn. So this is wonderful too, because what it means is that wherever you're having that challenging Pluto aspect take place, now Venus is welcomed in there, and she says, there's so much beauty to be had in this process. Okay, so I'm really loving this energy. That also is coinciding with, Venus herself has been going through a powerful part of her own synodic cycle. So that's the cycle that she goes through in relationship to the sun. So she's morning star, which is more the kind of the warrior goddess version of herself when she's this side of the sun. Then she moves through the sun, and she's hidden from our skies. We haven't seen Venus for ages because it's almost like the old her is being burned away in the heat and intensity of the sun's rays. And when she sort of creates enough distance the other side between herself and the sun, she reappears in our skies. And this is in the more of the love goddess form. This is where she is the evening star, and she will be visible again in our skies. This means that her effect on the people around us is going to be increasing from this point. From this point onwards, she is coming closer and closer and closer to the Earth, okay, up until when she goes retrograde. And she's going to go retrograde alongside Pluto in Capricorn, so much later in the year. And I'm designing a program to help you work with that, but you can start the work now. You see how you can start the work now. Between then and now, she is coming closer and closer and closer to us. And therefore her effect in this evening star phase of being, bringing more harmony to our relationships. Okay, bringing more love into, into how we connect with other people. That's all increasing. So, this harmonious aspect right now is a real invitation for you to feel that she's been through something similar. She's just gone through this death and rebirth process herself, moving from morning star to evening star. So she gets it. She gets it. And she wants to tell you that she gets it too. She wants to encourage you. And that's what she's going to do on this day. She's going to encourage you to say, do you know what? It really is worth it. Let me support you. And tap into Venus as much as you can on that day, okay? Through the heart, be in your heart. The moon in Pisces should really help you to do that. So ask her and get out there, look into the night sky. We should be able to just about, depending on where you are on the Earth, you should be able to just about start to see her again, and that will get easier and easier as the days go on. But ask her, say, Venus, give me the grace to approach this Pluto transit, whatever transit it is that's going on, wherever Capricorn is in your chart, that's where Pluto's doing the work. Give me the grace to do this work on myself, as you have done in moving from being the morning star to the evening star. Also, you can ask her, Venus in Taurus, Taurus rules our resources. And what she may be able to do here is gift to you the insight. Okay, Pluto is in retrograde, is that deep insight into, she might just connect you up with the hidden resources that you have within yourself that you need in order to go through this transformative process. So ask her from your heart. Say, Venus, can you guide me right now to find the parts of myself that I need? And it's likely that those parts will be in your heart, and in opening your heart to just be okay with vulnerability. Okay, not being too defensive and not being too much in survival mode, because that's what we can do with Taurus. We can just be so much in survival mode. We can like cut ourselves off from so many aspects of life. And so ask Venus there if she can open your heart a little bit. Okay. Friday the 7th of May. Okay, what we have now is we have the moon completing her journey through Pisces, and around about midday, she will be crossing over the Aries point. Okay, so 0 degrees Aries. This is, the point of the vernal equinox, that spring moment. It's a very, very powerful degree. It's probably arguably the most powerful degree in the entire zodiac, 0 degrees Aries, the Aries point. So the moon is going to cross that point, and it's really going to be bringing the work that we've done in the spiritual realm on ourselves really into the self. What's going on with me? And this is really, really wonderful. There's quite a lot to talk about here, but if we imagine, the receptivity of the moon as this dish, you know, this yin bowl that collects everything. As she's been kind of moving through the zodiac from the Scorpio full moon, she's kind of picking up all the work that we're doing along the way, and she's distributing everything at the same time. It's like this real kind of feedback thing that's going on. And as she kind of carries an energetic imprint, when she moves from Pisces to Aries, she's essentially saying, I want to move things from that ethereal realm and actually just make it very much how I'm going forward as an individual, as this embodied person that I am, rather than just on my soul level. So again, it's encouraging us to walk the talk, to be the change. That's very, very much what the Aries point says to me. Be the change that we need to be in the world. It's like saying, take all that higher realm work and bring it down into who you are, and make it a part of every little thing that you do on this planet and as you walk through this day. So we can feel like a stimulation when the moon crosses this point, and that stimulation is really an encouragement to bring it all back to the self. Okay, because we can deflect a lot of stuff off, and especially in Pisces, you know, dissociation is one of the things that Pisces is kind of famous for. Like, oh no, that's nothing to do with me. I'll project that out into the world, you know, that dynamic, or into my relationship. So this is really about bringing it back to you and seeing it all, and you know, coming back to your part in the collective. You know, Aries here is all about, you know, not what's going on out there in the world and how awful it all is, but okay, what can you do about it? You know, and what are the expectations you have of yourself? They've got to be realistic, right? You know, you don't walk on water. You know, even though our higher self, you know, when we do our spiritual work, we can get carried away with the idea of miracles and all of these things. And I'm not saying they can't happen, they can, but we have to be, you know, understand the expectations of the individual that we have. And Aries is the first sign of the zodiac. It's the baby. So, you know, baby steps, okay, towards the miracle of you, essentially. Okay. Yeah, she's deeply waning now as well. So it's really asking to, you know, we're really starting to deepen into the phase of the moon now where we go within. It is more solitary, it is more self-focused. A full moon tends to be way more about what's going on out there in the world, and the new moon tends to be more what's going on within. So try and use this also as the emphasis to turn your attention inwards if you can, and perhaps even spend some time alone with your own thoughts and feelings if you can. Meditation, that kind of thing. So as we go into Saturday. In fact, sort of Saturday and Sunday work together really quite well. But Saturday we have the moon, as she's working through Aries, she's going to come together with Chiron. Chiron, as we most commonly hear of being referred to as the wounded healer. Okay, or the teacher healer is another thing that we're familiar with. This is going to square Mars. So the moon here is in Aries, is actually in a Mars-ruled sign, and the moon rules Cancer. So what we've got here is each of them in each other's houses. So Mars is in a moon-ruled sign and the moon is in a Mars-ruled sign. So although it's a square, that actually that level of what's known as mutual receptivity can really facilitate you bringing about the better or the more desirable qualities of the square aspect. And that is motivation. All right. Yes, a square is irritating, but it's irritating you because it's trying to get you to take some action. All right. And with Mars, it's all about motivation. What am I doing? Where am I going? So I think actually that this square is going to be really, really helpful to us, as long as we don't, completely hide away from doing anything uncomfortable at all, which, if you're watching this, you probably don't. So essentially, this is saying, this is healing that core wound and the power that it has over us. Chiron, the wound of Chiron is really, really deep in our circuit boards. Okay, it's deep into our habits, and habits very much are moon and Cancer energies. It's the things that, these cycles that we notice that come up in our life, like, oh, I've done that again. Those patterns that just repeat and repeat and repeat. And until we do the core healing work, they are going to show up. You can change your relationship or your job or whatever. You can just keep churning them, but the same stuff is just going to show up time and time again until you really get to grips with doing that core healing work. And that's what this square is trying to ask you to do. All right, it's trying to push you, to motivate you to go into that core wound now and say, I don't want this pain to be running my life. Okay, Aries, it's about me. I want to be the boss. I want to be the one that's got the steering wheel. Thank you very much. So this can be a time of saying, okay, I need to let go of allowing this pain to rule the show. And the only way that we can do that really is to get into the healing work. And the first baby step of doing our healing work is absolutely to just recognize the wound. Just see the wound, have the wound be seen, have the pain be acknowledged. Okay, especially, I mean, if you're in my generation, kind of the Generation X, it's kind of, we've learned to just kind of ignore things, brush things under the carpet, especially in British culture, the culture that I'm part of. It's like, oh, don't do emotions, it'll be okay. Just brush it under the carpet. We'll not really look at any of that. That's kind of very inherent within the 1970s, 1980s upbringing. And so we've kind of learned internally that that's what we do with our emotions. Okay, that's what we do with our pain. We want to make it go away, okay, so that we can get on with whatever we're busy getting on with. All right, it's like a child crying. It's like we want the child to stop crying. But this internal child that we have that's crying, she's saying, look, I don't really, this isn't about you, cleaning my wound, putting a plaster on me. This is, I just want you to see that I'm hurting. I want to be important enough for you to acknowledge and be with me in this experience, to accompany me. The moon is the mother energy. It's like, can you hold me whilst I'm in pain here? And we need to do that for our own pain. We need to not brush it under the carpet anymore. Okay, we need to sort of break that habit of saying, I don't really want to do my healing work. There's far more important and interesting things going on in the world, kind of thing. I don't want to have to look at all of that stuff, or, God, haven't I done enough of that already? It's a level of self-abandonment. It really is. This is really key to understanding Chiron in Aries, is that we are abandoning ourselves when we're abandoning the part of ourself that's in pain. And we're saying, oh God, it's really inconvenient for you to be hurting. Like, we would never do that to something external. We wouldn't take that approach to a crying child that was in front of us right now and go, oh, can you shut up? Because honestly, I'm trying to watch TV or whatever, you know, that kind of thing. So we're doing that to ourselves inside all the time. There's a wounded child inside of us all the time. So try and give it your attention, all right, and make it a priority if you can. Mars, make that healing work a bit more of a priority. Another really important part of this is that Venus now is at the very last degree of Taurus. So she's at that point where she's had this whole incredible journey through Taurus. I mean, she really has had an incredible journey in Taurus. It's her home sign. She's met up with Uranus. She's squared Saturn. She's been involved in the full moon. She's, you know, transformed from the morning star to the evening star. She's just done so much. She's at that final degree now. She's saying, you know, this is the last chance to understand, to truly understand what it means to love yourself. Okay. No one else in the world is resourced enough, Taurus, to love you as fully as you can love you. You are with you from the moment you are born till the moment you check out. All right. No one knows you better. And that means that nobody can love you better than yourself. So let that be a really important part of the healing work that takes place today. We round off the week on Sunday then. Sunday we have the moon then moving into a square aspect. As she pulls away from Chiron, she's going to move into square aspect to Pluto. So again, we're being pulled back into that Scorpio Pluto full moon energy that we're bringing really to a close now. This really is. It's like, okay, I'm really done with this now. I'm really, there's no more done than when the moon is closing up her cycle and she's aspecting Pluto. Still, you know, when a planet turns retrograde, it's really powerful. And when it's the slowest moving planet that we have, which is Pluto, it takes a very long time for that planet to build up speed. So the intensity of the retrograde is still very much here. So all of these aspects to Pluto, since the turning retrograde, really that bit more heightened, that bit more powerful. So yeah, again, this speaks to, as I was talking about in last week's energy, this again, it's kind of another dose of the plant medicine as the moon prepares to go into Taurus. She's building us into the Taurus new moon. And it's just absolutely gorgeous. Absolutely love the Taurus new moon. And we want to, it's so fertile. You know, this is Gaia, this is Earth, and this is heart rules Earth. So when we have the new moon in Taurus there, we really want to give those seedlings that we're going to start the best possible chance. So really work with this moon Pluto if you can, to just be done with the old, to really release. And if all you can do is have the intention to release, if that's all the desire to, the wish to, if that's as much of your energy that you can put into this, if you don't fully understand yet how or what's involved, don't worry about those details. Okay, just meet this with the intent, with the energy of intention. Just say, I want to change. Okay, help me to change. Help me to release whatever it is that is standing in my way of becoming everything that I need to become. All right. That's all you really need to do. and the universe will kind of meet you in that vibration. It's just a willingness, and it's a desire. You know, Aries is all about, what do you want? Aries is MO is to go out into life and get the stuff that you want. So this is really about, you know, if you want to change, that's enough. Just to hand it to the moon. I want to change. Help me to change. Dissolve away, take away, remove away, whatever it is that's standing in the way of bringing that change about. And working with that, you know, that really is standing you in good stead for the Taurus new moon, which I will be celebrating somewhere in deepest, darkest Somerset, in a forest somewhere. But I will be here to tell you all about that, to guide you through it. I hope this has been helpful for you. As always, if it has, make sure you subscribe to my channel, give me a like, give me a comment, and also make sure you're following me on Facebook, because I know I've got followers on here who you know, are just kind of on YouTube, but I do put different content out on Facebook as well, so that they're kind of adjunct with the work that I do with my videos. So check that out if you like. Yeah, have a beautiful week, and I will see you next time. Lots of love for now. Bye.